guys, and welcome to another video. And today, I'm gonna give my first impressions on Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. So far, I am mostly through the game. I haven't completed it yet, so these are just my thoughts so far about it before I make my review. So, this game takes place 100 years before Breath of the Wild, and it's canon to the actual universe and everything, and it's really interesting. It brings a lot of elements of the story of that universe, and it really kind of expands it. It brings new characters, new details that we didn't know about in the memories from Breath of the Wild, and it really makes the world feel more interesting. A lot of people said that the story wasn't that complex in Breath of the Wild, and it wasn't that complex, but it makes this game kind of makes Breath of the Wild more complex with its story and everything. Not the game itself, but the story of the whole universe of Breath of the Wild, or should I say, the whole kind of world of Breath of the Wild, since that's only a small part of the Zelda timeline. And it's just really interesting to see like all of the different things play out that were only touched on in the memories. And it's just really interesting to see how all the characters and their fates and the things that happen. It's just really interesting. And another thing that people were kind of worried about was the frame rate. In the demo, it was not that good, since it was like with the first level and everything, and really the first level is almost one of the worst levels with frame rate. Most of the game isn't actually that bad, though when you're in multiplayer, things can start to slow down. But like throughout the course of the game, as I said, it wasn't that bad. There's only like a handful of levels that are really bad with frame rate, and then most of the game is just decent with frame rate. Don't expect like the smoothest game ever, but it's not as bad as you think. A lot of the gameplay footage is like it kind of shows sometimes with the frame rate and everything, but like looking at the game with the gameplay and everything feels a lot different than actually playing the game. And I've actually never played a Warrior style game. I've never played any of the games that were kind of like Dynasty Warriors. So this was new to me, and honestly, I would have to say it's really fun. It really feels nice to plow through a lot of enemies and then hit the bosses a certain way, and it just really feels interesting. And honestly, with all the Breath of the Wild moves they added in here, it almost feels like sort of a combination of the Warrior style and Breath of the Wild. And a lot of the things from Breath of the Wild felt familiar here, like with both the combat and even like stuff like the UI and like managing different things in the game. I know like the weapon system is different, like things don't have a durability anymore, but like a lot of the weapons use the same style and use like some of the same stats and stuff like that. So it's really interesting to see a lot of the aspects of different things from Breath of the Wild in this game. And another interesting gameplay feature with the game is the controlling the divine beasts, which is pretty interesting. Like, before they showed that in the trailer of the partner showcase, I thought this game was just gonna have like the warrior style, like, well, obviously it's gonna have the warrior style stuff, but I didn't know they were gonna have like a variation in gameplay with the divine beasts and everything. And I think that's really interesting, since, like I said, it's a variation in gameplay, and it just feels really interesting to actually control the divine beast, because in Breath of the Wild, there were nothing but like glorified dungeons, and they were just like an area that you'd go inside, and you didn't really have the feeling that there were actual things that could just like destroy everything. You could like plow through like a ton of different enemies, and you didn't really know the sheer power of the divine beasts in Breath of the Wild. And in this game, you kind of do, since you actually use them. And it's really interesting. I really like the variation of gameplay, and even like stuff like the world map is interesting too. With the world map, they have a lot of side quests, and the side quests can help you upgrade your characters, or do other things like that. And then there's also a lot of training missions too, where you can get some extra materials. It's pretty interesting. And then you can level up your characters and move on to different levels. It's honestly really interesting, and I really like it. So overall, so far in this game, I really like it. It's a lot better than I was expecting, even though I was initially excited for this game. And, like, so far, this isn't a review, so don't take my word for it, but I do recommend it. I will have a review out in a week or two, so look forward to that. And anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. If you played Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, let me know what you think of it, and what do you think of it from the gameplay you've seen so far. So thank you guys for watching, make sure to check out my Twitter and Discord server if you want, and goodbye.